Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Here are the ingredients that you're going to need to make fresh green beans. So you're going to need 1.5 to 2 pounds of fresh green beans. You're going to need 2 medium onions diced. You are going to need a 32-ounce container or just enough to make 32 ounces of chicken broth. You're going to need a heaping tablespoon of minced garlic. You're going to need seasoned salt, and this is to taste. Salt is always to taste. You're going to need some black pepper, again, to taste. And then you are going to need beef bouillon cubes, 4 of them. You'll need some granulated onion or onion powder. So I've got my 1.5 to 2 pounds of green beans. I'm going to remove the ends of each one of the green beans. Now, I started off here in this video doing them by hand. What I ended up doing to move things along quickly was to actually use kitchen shears to clip off the ends. So you're going to clip off both ends, not a lot. Don't take too much off of the end, but just so that you don't have the stem part attached anymore. So you're going to do that to each one of the green beans. As you go along, if you've gotten fresh green beans, you've probably picked up some little wonky looking ones. Typically, I just throw those out. The ones that are super tiny, I just throw those out. Or if they're broken in half and kind of slimy, which tends to happen sometimes, I throw that out. So I've got my green beans here. I am going to now rinse these, and I've actually, I typically soak these for about a half an hour once I've got these completely picked. I'm using a smoked turkey wing for this particular batch. You can use whatever kind of meat or no meat at all. But you're going to put water over your smoked turkey piece or your meat, just enough to cover it. Then you're going to add in the 32 ounces of broth. And you can use, I'm using chicken broth here. You can certainly use beef broth. You can even use vegetable broth. That will work, just as well. So we're just adding a little bit of flavor to this. I'm going to heat this and bring this to a boil. And then I'm going to add in my diced onion. So once I've got my onion in there, I'm going to bring this back to a boil. And let me just say this too, is that this is going to cook for a long time. Anytime that you're cooking meat, you're going to typically boil the meat for at least an hour first before you put in the rest of your ingredients. So, but clearly for the sake of making this video, I just decided to put everything in there and let it marinate on its own. So next, I am going to put in my minced garlic. So I say to use a tablespoon of this, but I use a heaping I love garlic, so I use a heaping tablespoon of garlic. Then I'm going to add in my onion powder, granulated onion. I'm going to use a teaspoon of this. Because we already have a lot of onion in there already. But it really does kick the flavor up a notch. Now I'm going to add my bouillon cubes. So I'm going to use beef bouillon for this. I'm going to use 4 of the cubes. And that's what they look like. You can also use the type that you scoop out. I'm going to say that that equates to about a tablespoon, a little bit over a tablespoon of beef bouillon. if you're using the powdered kind. I'm now going to put in my black pepper, and I'm going to use just a teaspoon of black pepper. Again, this is something that, you know, it's personal preference if you like it. And this did not make it spicy. So, like I said, you know, if you like black pepper, use more or less if you don't. Seasoned salt, again, this is to taste. I'm going to say that I used about a tablespoon's worth of seasoned salt. I also used regular I'm sorry, not sea salt. I used table salt as well. Once this cooked for a while and I tasted it, and you want to make sure that you're tasting it as well, because the bouillon does tend to make it a little bit salty. So I added another tablespoon of regular table salt. So this has cooked down now for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So this is actually ready to go now. You can see that most of the water has boiled off of it, and the meat is really, really broken up in here. I've actually removed the bones as I went along. So this is ready to go. Product, and it was absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe.